If you understand the principal meaning of consciousness and you understand the principal meaning of the subconsciousness, then understand that the consciousness and the subconsciousness feed one another. That in itself is also how, when you are physiologically programmed to believe certain things or read certain materials or to be trapped or perhaps held in certain older ideologies in your life or in your past lives when you came to this world, aside from the main issue at hand, you must understand that part of your consciousness is used to alter and to infiltrate your subconscious level. And your subconscious level is in direct alignment with that greater force that is existing within this realm. And once you understand the principle of how that works, you'll understand the meaning of your shadow, and that not all of what is shadow is all yours. Then you'll understand, once you've explored your subconsciousness to its nth degree, you have literally lit up every single part inside of you that you have cleared on within yourself. Then you'll understand that part of your shadows are being used as, let's call it, weaponized against you in some conscious manner. There is a third party at all times present, and in the same process, the third party, its frequency is constantly needing to perpetuate itself so that it can become existing within itself. It is partly trapped within this realm, and that is why gods and demigods, demons, angels, and entities and frequencies and elementals are manifested in this realm, because people believe solely that they are facing something that is greater than themselves. And in this understanding, it would need to be more investigated, where the consciousness does work its magic within the subconsciousness. What you see, you explore and you read and you hear and perhaps you taste. All your senses are occupied in this world at all times. And in this way, you are slowly but surely eroding certain other belief systems with newer ones every day of every moment of your life. And when you understand that that thing, that demiurgic entity, element, perhaps could have been a manifestation of a lot of fear because of the time in which it was brought into being. And it was written in many books, and it was explored and investigated, and so it materialized, and so it became real. So much real that it is sitting on top of all the realms as you try to transition out of this reality. It is something to take note of, that man in part, as a collective entity, is partly involved and directly connected to, and perhaps indirectly connected to, the manifestation of creatures that are functioning within the way that they do. So much so that it infiltrates and creates a poison in a toxic state of consciousness within most cases, many timelines, many time periods, societies that have gone down. And then there will always be the others, other people who will try to utilize that at all points in time to bank on it so that it can always be alive and function within its protocols. And we're looking specifically at H.P. Lovecraft, who wrote Cthulhu, when he most likely was doing some deeper journey work within himself and had discovered that the mind that conjured up these the information bits had perhaps had some toxicity within his life. That doesn't mean that it negates that evil does not exist. Purely so. What I'm saying is that evil needs a counterpart so that it can stay strong and function at all times. And the counterpart for evil is belief. belief in the fact that evil is greater than good. And that creates the schism or the fracture between the two paths. And those two paths are always, perhaps, have always been presented to you as a child, even so, when you were taught to understand good and evil, when you could understand right from wrong. Needless to say, it was important to learn to understand morality as you perhaps grew up and you started to observe the entire process for how it stands. Therefore, I want to propose that Cthulhu is, though it is created, and though there are scripts written about it, and the same thing goes for the demiurge, as well as the Metatron element, entity, frequency, as well as the God that operates within this realm and holds everyone hostage, as well as the energy that comes from it through its many demons and angels and elementals that it sends out to people. That the only place that it at all times will always try to find a settlement in is within the consciousness of man, whether it's physical or emotional or spiritual. It will always try to annihilate and destroy that which perhaps contests it. And in the same purpose, you look at religion, and religion as being the created elements to denote worshipping of certain forces so that mankind would want to feel honored and loved and saved by something that is greater than themselves, mainly because of the immaturity of the consciousness of that soul. That is why religions were created, and the worshipping of external elements so that the internal element would be venerated. Why not then is the same process, principle for evil to exist? Why can that not exist in the same understanding, meaning of it? And so I present an idea that I am pondering on with you. It is a very serious idea and path in which we are. Yes, we function within a realm in this world that is operated within numerous levels of archetypes and arch enemies and archangels and so forth. However, perhaps it takes us to the point where we would need to start taking control of ourselves before we can even say out loud that we are independent individual beings. Perhaps we would need to start to focus all that energy on ourselves rather than outside of ourselves to things that are perhaps unseen. And perhaps these unseen things would need to be addressed by addressing that which is within, where the schism had started in the first place. What about things that exist without any conscious focus on it? What about spirits and demons and angels and elementals and aliens? What about these things? Do they have a place in your consciousness as well? Are they there or are they not there? If they're not there, as far as you're aware, then by default I will tell you that it exists outside of you and that it is there to tempt you, to torment you, because you are strongly in the fixation perhaps of being tormented within yourself. What if you believe that you are not a tormented person? What if you believe that you are loved by many people? What if you believe that because of your kind deeds that you are safe and that you are a kind person and that you deserve only goodness to happen with you? What if you do all of those things and these things still come to torment you, to hurt you, to make you ponder on your inner quiet subconscious weaknesses? Then I will say to you that these things do exist then for you for that reason. And I'm not saying that there's some sort of sadomasochistic reality within this world of people, but I do say that there is a greater percentage than what actually exists that perpetuates the movement of evil. Currently, as we stand, the reality within this realm is shifting everyone towards the most absurdist levels of consciousness to think on, so that there is a manipulation for people to move things to the right hand path. Because the more there's a focus and force on pushing people to the left-hand path, into the absurd, into the dark, the more there is a resistance, because most people who have common sense in this world will resist and redirect themselves towards the right-hand path. And even that in itself is a manipulation for the functionality in this world. What happens when you pass on and you traverse and you find all these energies and entities and things that are waiting for you on the outside realms while you transverse externally in this world? When you astral travel, what happens to you when you see these things? Are you frightened to death of it? Or are you able to have courage to fight it? Or do you just negate it, it exists, so that you are able to just process the path forward, going forward? Think very carefully on that. This is why it's so very, very vitally important, in order for you to understand that if this realm requires some form of folding up upon itself, that it requires for people to start folding up that which they have believed in for so long, in the fact that the realm itself is a cage to begin with. Once the seizing of that belief has taken hold, once the seizing of the beliefs in only looking for that which is wounded to save, once these beliefs stop or change or become focused in another direction, only then are you able to see more clearer. It always comes back to that which is within you. What is within you? Have you tapped out fully and understood fully the subconscious within you? Because it is a vast, vast abyss that you will delve into. You need to, have to, must at all times dig deeper inside of that subconscious level of yours, in that cave that you may be existing within. The more that we work within ourselves and operate within ourselves in that way, the more you are able to bring light to that which is the shadow inside of you. The more you are able to then distinguish what is an actual threat and what is not a threat. Your energy is vast, so it will take time to dig into that. And as I said, and what if you find out that this place is pure evil, as many of us have noticed to be? Then I will say that the consciousness of the collective is partly responsible for some aspect of it, but not the sum of it. And that the third party, or that third element that exists, as much as a higher force exists within this realm and around the realm, then that entity has power at all times and continues to hold you within this system. It is up to you to decide how you want to exit this realm. If you want to escape this world, the most important thing to take note of is that you need to make sure that your housekeeping internally has been cleared up. Because for certain, not all things that go bump in the night is something that is related to the external factor or force. You must believe in nothing, and you must not be living in the lie of believing all things. And once you're unable to have freed yourself from all forms of beliefs in any way, shape, or form, only then are you able to have a completely clear space within your consciousness where you are able to exit this realm in its capacity. If you want to exit this realm but you are still locked into many belief systems that hold you true to causality, to ideologies, to aspects that and draw you to believe and ensure and enforce other collectives, then I would say that your exit journey would be a return journey, one that bends the needle for you to go straight back into this realm.